reflecting on this gathering today, I was moved to just make 2 points, and it was also encouraging to see the presentation, because what I felt was that all presenters genuinely wanted to inform and made it clear that it's on the way, it is something in process. And if that can be manifested in action, that it doesn't anticipate action, but allows the wish and the aspiration of the community to express itself, to be incorporated, then I think the tension and the built-up anxiety will dissolve. For me, I have lived in the last 53 years here. I have been in the extremes, and some people might remember me and might accuse me of, but I'm not able anymore to take sides. I agree with both sides. I don't want to be polarized. And I think if we were able to step back and allow that commonness between us to manifest, this will be the most soulful city. I think that Toby said it in Kalabomi, Ambu said it also, Srivastava, when I mentioned that let the TDC be truly brought into the community, by the community, I was not questioning their qualification or their capacity. I was just thinking that we could involve the community as an instrument, as the spirit of the act said, to appoint its own bodies and not depend on an outside standing order or office order. That's all I'm saying. The second thing which I do need, I have been participating silently, but participating also in voice, in several meetings, and we are being given a very special opportunity. The opportunity is not only because somebody has entered us here, the secretary, with certain capacities and certain qualifications, but also that the pressure on Oroville, I don't even know the extent to which Oroville is being pressurized from within and from outside. Whether it was questions which came up, why open more roads when you see how the tourists, the shops, the traffic is already entering the Koila-Palayam road. Had we acted 10 years ago, this development could have been stopped. When we are being told this road, the crown path we are opening, it is only for electrical vehicles. How will you manifest that? How is it possible to? I'm not questioning that there is a way of doing it, but I feel that right now we are not aware what is at stake. We don't have the right to waste the moment now. And from both sides, we have to step back and then quietly, fraternally move into the common ground which unites us. It's the only chance to save what already is manifested.
I think it's quite significant that we're meeting on this auspicious day where everybody in the surrounding villages is basically invoking and celebrating Ganesh as the remover of obstacles. We know from the stories how important that Ganesh energy was for the mother. She even insisted that on the temple which we have on the entry from the bypass road, that the Ganesh temple will be taken care of and not abandoned. I'm amazed actually to hear and want to honor the work which not only this present team but over so many years people have put in facing the challenges of Oroville and looking for solutions for it. And I'm very touched to see actually that the present team, that they focused on those areas where it's tricky, where there's controversy, where people are hurt, where there's woundedness and all of that. So I really appreciate that gesture. I think if I look into the community, we have such an amazing gathering and pool of individuals and experts in their field. We have all what it takes to continue to grow. And I think right now we are challenged. The first question is, are we together in the development of Auroville? Are we agreeing that if we don't develop, actually, the surrounding areas in Pondicherry will develop much faster than us, and we will be coming into insignificance in the future? Okay. Yeah. I have a proposal actually, because it's very touching also to see what that push for development, and possibly we have a positive push even from the government side. We are pushed by the circumstances of the bioregion to develop, and I think it's clear that we are all touched by it and want to make a significant step. What I'm seeing actually, I trust the people who are in charge of all the technicalities. I see a very strong need in the community that we finally, this should be the occasion, while the Crown Road is emerging and being built, we have to build a functional residence assembly. It's so clear, there's such a need there. People feel that the process were hijacked, that things are illegal and all of that. It can only be the gathering, the assembly, the parliament of the citizens of Auroville who can actually take care and guarantee that quality for the future. So let's actually, those dissenting voices or those people who are unhappy, please, I see all of them, the grassroots Democrats, the anarchists, all those ones who came with this strong passion. Please, let's put our efforts together and create a functioning residence assembly, which is part of the Constitution. If we have that, we cannot be hijacked. We are playing the victims, we are dissenting, we are shouting. This is very immature behavior. We can do much better. Let's put our creative energies together and become what we really dream of and what we want to be. Let's do it together. Thank you.
In 2001, it was written, the mobility plan of Auroville existed. We knew all what could happen if we would build road without have a proper mobility policy, implementing pedestrian, cyclist, and electric vehicle, non-polluting vehicle. This was in 2001. In 2007, we received funds, 40 lakhs, to build the first stretch of the Crown Road. We have not done one thing about mobility policy. We have not applied anything about it. And it's quite understandable, because it's more easy to build a road than to convince people to go for pedestrian, cyclist, and non-polluting mobility. So we are going to do exactly the same. In Auroville, we know very well that we are very good at thinking, and suddenly there is a big urge to think, so we meet and we present all the results, but we don't take decision accordingly. I join completely Frédéric on that topic. Now, personally, I have a very little question other than this one. So my question for this first point is, how will you organize so that if ever there is a paved road a little bit more on the Crown Way, how will it be that it will be very, very, very human and only Aurovillians will come? I would like to know. That is really a question. No, not now. You have time to do it. And then I have another question, because we have been shown at the very beginning the model of the galaxy. And if we zoom closely to the model of the galaxy, we see that the perfect circle of the crown is not at all a road. It's a blue ribbon. And obviously, it is water running. So I'm just questioning, is it a road, is it really indispensable to have it in a circle? Is it not just more meaningful to have some water running? Can we all decide about it, even if the mother has given a plan with a road in 1969 to the Ford Foundation? Can't we address the mother and tell her, Mother, I think it would be better if we think so. I'm not saying to impose because I said it. Can't we go for water? Wow, water is so nice, no?
I have a simple remark that doesn't seem to come across. Okay, so everybody knows that the more infrastructure you put, the more the prices go up of the land. You know, I'm involved in trying to find the money to buy the land. If you get us all the land, why not the crown? But if you don't get us the land first, then how are we ever going to get the city? Or whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be possible. You see it happening everywhere. So, get us the land, you'll get the crown. In whatever water form or very creative.
Yeah, hi. First, I'm really sorry that the meeting started off like that. I think no meeting amongst Aurovilians should start like that. And I see that the emotions are really high, and this is maybe the energies that we are calling in right now, and we can't be like that. I'm really sorry. I didn't shout or anything, but this is really for anybody who stands up there in the front, this is not okay. I'm very grateful to Vidya, who actually spoke it for the first time out in detail, is that the image of the Crown Road that is promised to us, pedestrian-friendly, cyclists only, electrical only, Aurovilians and guests, that this is actually only possible if the outer ring road comes. The outer ring road, if it comes in the drawings as it's done, it's, what, 30 meters, I don't know what, but it cuts through Kotakarai village, where it stops right now. It cuts through essential parts of the afforestation work of Auroville. Bliss is maybe small, it's still very beautiful, but if you cut through Revelation Forest, if you cut through Gaia Forest, Samridi Forest, what then? So for me, it's really, I think it's what Rafael said, how do you solve that? And for me, it's almost the feeling that doing the Crown Road right now, with all the aspirations and the promises that we hold, or that we are told, it's like doing the cart before the horse. We don't have yet a concept of how to bring the traffic which we don't want into the city. How do we carry it, how do we bring it out? So that's really essential for me, and I hope that the TDC is a bit more clear on this. And then I had to laugh when Vidya also showed the images of the ideal road section, and I see a German Autobahn, more or less. And it's really contrasting with what we are promising, and it's about trust, and I see the parts of the road which are done, and they are obviously not what is promised right now. So why not put all the energy in working on those and improving those and showing together with the community how that can be done. Thank you.
I'm really happy. I mean, in the beginning, I wasn't sure what was happening, but the end, I feel very happy after the presentation from the Lavanya team. You know, it's not the Crown Road, it's more the Crown Way. That's how it's sounding. And I also feel happy with the team, the way they've been following up, you know, talking to the various people in the area and slowly trying to work out the details. I hope, you know, others have sounded in this mood. If we can really hold ourselves together and try and go on that mood, because the start of this meeting, it didn't sound like this. It was kind of trying to make different groups, which is not exactly healthy for Auroville. We need to hold all of us together, and those who have input to bring to the Lavanya team, please join the team, and let's try to work together, please. I really pray for that. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a few questions and a comment. So I would just like to read out the questions, and like Joel said, maybe there'll be the other session where the questions will be answered, since this is a lack of time. So I just want to put those questions out. One thing that I really don't understand is if there's all the push to have the pedestrians, and which is a great, we all agree that's that's where we should go. But then, if it's all pedestrians, cyclists and all, then why is there separately 2.7 for cycle path and pedestrian? If the whole, no, I'm serious, I really want to, it sounds strange to me. And also then, if it's pedestrian and cyclists, then it doesn't need to be 16.7. So why is it 16.7? This I really would like an answer to. I haven't actually got an answer. Somebody said it hasn't been answered. So I really would like an answer to that, makes sense. And I just want to reiterate what Rakal said, which is, what is the plan to actually control the village traffic? Because I am just close to, Language Lab is just close to the Kotakrai village, and I just see increasing traffic every single day. And also, I just want to point out, I saw a whole family in a Mercedes-Benz, a whole Tamil family. Obviously, they've sold land, got money. They were in a Mercedes-Benz right at the corner of Matramandir, the visitor center, Matramandir Road. And I just want to point out, there's a huge amount of car ownership is actually increasing in the village. So we really need to see what is going on in a regional context. So plans have to be made for that. And my other question is, the 4 access ways, in this map, you don't really see those accesses so clearly as they are in the schematic. And I would like to know if the land has been bought for those service nodes. Because I think that is one thing. I already proposed this in 2009, that we find a place and parking where we could all park and then transfer. And is that land bought? Where do we see it? We don't see it over here. And my last thing is, when you showed the Crownways presentation, in fact, see, showing is one thing, but integrating is another. And this is where what Fred said is so important. It's not by pushing over one point of view. We have to integrate. And I think the Crownways was a chance to integrate. This is what Fred has been saying, others have been saying. We need to find the way to come together. And if there was that whole thing in the beginning, it is because people feel excluded from certain aspects of this plan. So can we not get together and really transform that plan to include everybody? So it will reflect everybody's perspectives. I believe that's possible. I believe that's why we are here in Oroville. And if we had a master plan that really unifies, that makes sense, then, as somebody said in the video, the sky's the limit. But it's because we don't have that. And this is why this meeting is here. This is why we have to come together. And it has to reflect, that unity of the differing perspectives has to reflect in our plan. That is the challenge of today. That's what we're being called to do.
Hi. First of all, I would really like to thank you guys for your presentation, for your courage to stand through the initial, ballistics, and especially, yes, just the way you gave it across. Thank you so much. For me, it was really helpful. I've been here since the 60s, and I've watched these waterways slowly turn into roads. And actually, through all my time here, I've been wondering how we're ever going to move away from these existing roads to what is supposed to happen in Oroville eventually. And seeing more and more traffic happen on these roads, and even also myself getting used to them. It's quick and efficient for me to move from one place to another, to use these old roads. So my question was actually just, do you actually have a plan, section by section maybe, to close these waterway roads and give us another option? Or how is this transition going to happen? Do you have a plan for that, an idea? I'd be very happy to park my motorbike somewhere and get onto a bicycle, but I'm not seeing it as something that is actual today yet, and I'd be happy to see it happen. Thank you.
Okay, just have a question. Few weeks, months ago, I don't know, TDC came in the area on Kalpana, realization, creativity, and they proposed to put a parking front of realization, just before realization and the future of vibrance. And I'm wondering how it's possible to put a parking there when there will be no vehicle. And then why you don't put the car outside, as it was on the master plan, no? Then it was a full no from all the community. No car here, no car anywhere. They need to be outside. Then this part of the question. You plan already something. Then why you plan something when it's not showing there?
Thank you. Thank you, TDC, for your presentation. I have a question actually on something that you did address, but it's still fuzzy for me. So I'm hoping that you can, today or some other time, just help me get more on that. And I think it's also a question actually for the whole community, really. And the question is around why now? Why is the Crown Way a priority now? I heard you say that there are all these concerns around mobility that you would like to address, and I think those are very pertinent and very valuable. I heard you say that in the Crown Way there will be so much more public infrastructure, also valuable. But in the context in which we are today, where even though all of these things are concerns that we should start to think about, when we have no traffic jams, when we have public infrastructure that is underutilized, but we have other issues that are development issues, like we have hundreds of Aurovilians that live in precarious housing, and that's not even counting newcomers. I'm just lacking a little bit of clarity on why this is a priority now, even if we just call it a development priority, because there are other priorities that could be non-development. Even if we're just saying, okay, let's look at our development priorities, I'm still struggling to understand why this is one today. And so I would personally really like to understand that better. I would also like to hear from the TDC what are other development priorities that you've identified. And yeah, just to know what those are so that we can have a little bit of context as to why this is something that is something we might need to focus so many resources, financial, I mean, they're going to be massive, human resources, not to mention the natural resources that, are going to be impacted. So yeah, as a community member who's being asked to consider this as a crucial issue today in terms of a development priority, I just need more.
I'm Fabienne. I would like to come back to what Mita said about the sector which she is living, where the laboratory of the language laboratory is, and the threat which is coming from that side. 5 months ago, we appealed to the TDC to do something on the direct entrance, which is the short way from New Creation to Sanjana, let's say, this area, which is the main road of the residential zone, because people are using that road now to enter Auroville. And our little cycle path has become literally a highway. We have big trucks, we have all kind, even buses, all kind of traffic on that side. People horn at any time of the day and the night. So we came with a proposal because there is a road, actually a road designed by TDC that we have agreed on, maybe the only one, that we're ready to have constructed, meaning when you take the road going to Sanjana, you find little sign that says stop. In fact, this road should continue, pass between Matreuilly and the canyon of Sukhavati and join Sangha at the end. So we wanted to have that stretch done and have some control at the end. We had 2 meetings, very constructive, interesting, and then suddenly this obsession of Crown Hall came up, and we have been brushed totally away with the mega plan of the outer ring, with the huge infra. I mean, I call it you should see the design because it's really interesting. And then why? We have two places that are under immediate threat, and how can we believe you if you are not able to address this problem, that there will be only cycle on this road? No way. It's not possible.
I was one of the first ones that put up my hand. I just wanted to know, is like I hear for Orvilleans, for guests, what about all the people that come to work in Orville? Are we forgetting? Like, I would like to know, is it the idea, is it possible that this crown is going to replace all the other roads that are within this crown circle? Is this what is happening, or are they going to stay and we have just a crown and we have all these crossroads? And is it still possible to actually close those roads, like what Anne said? Are they going to be closed? Is this going to be accepted? Because this is a lot of people in the morning and in the evening go to their work, and they're not going to walk, and they don't have electric cycles. So, maybe we have a bus. Maybe we have a bus, but this definitely, it's a big group of people that needs to definitely be included in the planning. This was my...
My name is Yuval. You know, when you take black ants and red ants and you put them in a jar of glass, they live very much in peace. When you shake them, they kill each other. And then you don't see why it's happened. Who shake this? You see? And what I want to try to say, for all this what we're talking about, the key is the landlord buying the land. The key that we buy the land is acquisition. The acquisition is held up by the secretary because she said the circle is not right. She cannot go to the collector and demand because he will give her another land. Bullshit. Don't say like this with your head. I don't believe in it. She can do acquisition if she wants. So we're talking here about all this because for years and years, all Lavenir did, they used to play with sand. Now suddenly they cut trees and everybody wake up, you know? And what is very important that we realize and we be aware, all of us, is only us. It's not them, and don't talk like this even. I finish.
Thank you. I'm Suhasini, and I would like to start with saying I really resent being called anti-development, because over the last 30 years, if there's somebody who has fought to develop the Crown, it's me. I have 7 public projects built on the Crown, and each one was an uphill task with every development group that did not want to locate public projects on the Crown. So please, don't call me anti-city, anti-galaxy, anti-Crown, and infantilize my input, okay? Now, coming to the subject that I want to bring in. So you have done the survey. And as any person who is involved in planning, development of architecture knows, that the survey is just an informational basis on which there are 4 other surveys that have to be done. Otherwise, you cannot actually undertake urban planning. Urban planning is not about drawings, and it's not about surveys. It's actually about political, social, economic, and environmental issues. So I would like to know from the TDC, given their capacity, and I'm not going to be harmonizing and say that they have the capacity. They neither have acquired nor academic capacity. So let's be honest about it. When are they going to actually table 4 major studies that have been done that addresses these 4 issues? And each of these studies have been done with work orders from TDC, and just because the outputs were not so comfortable to a certain lobby within Oroville, they have been sidelined. Mr. Doshi, with a whole group of Aurovilians, spent months translating the galaxy to the ground reality in a way that the next two steps, which is actually doing the land suitability study for land use, that would take into account present land use and projected land use as per the master plan. Second one would be identifying development priorities, looking at Auroville's development and the directions that we want to go, which was also undertaken. And the third is looking at what is it that we want to do, the developmental directions that takes the intent, goal, and the raison d'etre Auroville. And if all this is reduced to somebody telling me that the Matrimandir is a soul and the crown will release the soul using some kind of dim-witted logic, I am sorry, it is actually marginalizing and infantilizing very detailed and pertinent questions. And so I really would like to know from the TDC, when are you actually going to get competent people who are in this community to be consulted and take into account the political, socio-economic, and environmental aspect of the studies already done and the development priorities that have already been done with your work order and the land use study that has already been done, and on top of it, the regional planning studies that have been done. All these studies give you indicators with challenges and with opportunities which do not reflect either in the words of the TDC or in the actions of the TDC. So when you start quoting to support whatever dumb-witted thing that you're putting out to us, maybe it can be reduced to, are you for the city or not for the city, so we can marginalize you. I am really sorry. I do not accept that I am actually facing a planning group that does not even understand what planning is about.
Hi, I'm Renu. So there's a couple of observations in the last 50 years that I realize, and it's the incredible shrinking Auroville. So when I was a kid, Auroville extended from Lake Estate to the ocean, and one of Mother's first sketches for it shows that. Later in the mid-80s, mid-90s, we had purchased land and we started moving towards the center, and we had taken on the policy to start foregoing. Our policy then was that we needed to control the roads, and so like the road from Tindivanam up, Auroville owned all that land. Then the same kind of mentality, there's been a buzz in this mentality. We need to build the city, we need to build the city. And so all previous plans that we said we need to control the roads, we need to control development on the roads, was thrown out of the window, and that land was exchanged. And for I'm sitting in the land board today, and I can tell you, not a single exchange actually really benefited Auroville if you start looking at it money-wise. So all I'm seeing is an incredibly shrinking Auroville and a shriller and shriller cry, build the city, when the city is coming out all around. The greenbelt doesn't exist. There are villages that exist. So all of this bothers me. But finally, I want to say another thing is, we've been working, the secretary has come in with some energy, and she wants to put the energy, but why does she want to put the energy in this? Why did she not choose something that unifies Aurovillians like water? Because that is the main thing we're all going to face. I was glad Saravanan brought it up. And the ring road is not a dam or a water pond or whatever else I kind of misunderstood. You know, why aren't we working on things that are going to be crucial to our existence, and not just Aurovillians, to the region? That's a noble cause that I can get behind. So I don't understand that. I'm just seeing this incredibly shrinking Auroville. Then there's another thing I don't understand. The secretary asked for alternative models. Prashant, Suhasini, Lata, Dharmesh, a whole pile of people worked for a week, showed them to her. She barely looked at them. She was barely interested in them after that work. And we would like to show those to the community. Every time we've tried to book the Unity Pavilion, that has not been allowed. It was seen as divisive and bad. And again, but somehow this all happened. So I'm very surprised by you, Jaya. That's really unusual for you to be like that. Thank you. So that's bothersome. And let me just see, I think I'm missing a few things. So I think we do need to look at all the alternative perspectives. I think we do need to question what our priorities are. I think we need to think about why this is a priority. Does this have something to do with GOI grants? Does this have something to do with a cable that the youth center didn't want to go through it? And that dragged on and an EIA impact assessment done. So all of these questions maybe are the motivating factors behind why suddenly now the crown is. And I think we fought the Sri Aurobindo Society on what our development priorities were going to be and who is going to make decisions about what those are. And so I think that's really important that we take the help when we get the help, but we have to be firm about where we want our priorities to go. So that's another thing. No, there's more. I'm sorry. Can you? So I do think we all agree that the RAD has to come together. I do agree that we need, with the TDC, that we need to move out from our little fence and our little thing. I do agree. I have other problems that I do not agree. The circle does not have to be perfect. It is not true. This kind of gobbledygook and pseudo-religious nonsense that is coming up is nobody who knows Mother will agree with that. What Mother wants is us to collaborate. So if for some crazy reason this is what we have to collaborate on, then let's do meaningful and real collaboration, really taking in people's concerns, really understanding that we don't need a circular crown everywhere, where it can weave in and out, and that we're only 3,000 people at this point, and the development has to go with what is happening now. This whole thing of some pressure on, I don't know which mother this is. This is no mother I recognize. She's not punishing us if we don't make a circle. She's not punishing us if we don't have a 40 meters flat. This is just no mother I recognize. Mother was not like that. So my question is, stop the religious shutting down of the conversation of the Aurovilians allowing themselves to participate in the manifestation of what the master plan looks like. That is what I'm saying. Stop all of the thing about saying it has to be like this. It's been, the first 2 hours, I know this stuff by heart. Most of us do. It's tedious. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elisa. Somehow I will repeat what I've heard because I had a big resonance with many things which have been said. And my main concern right now and my main questions to us as a community is actually what dynamics of governance are we willing to have in Auroville, and are we willing to nurture in Auroville? Somehow I've heard a lot of push pressure, and we saw how this meeting started, and it's really reflecting a very confusing unease movement in the community at present. There was a lot of lack of clarity on the movement where ATDC was on, and somehow the meetings I've attended in presence of TDC, some members of TDC, some members of working committee, some members of the and the secretary, felt really that there is a direction and there was no curiosity, there was no openness. In my felt experience, there was just a direction taken, and the top-down dynamic that I perceived somehow felt really in resonance with what I feel on a planetary level, with the confusion between the vaccine, which is about individual choices, and the sanitary passes that are coming up and that are very top-down dynamic. So meetings were falling over our heads since the last 2 weeks, and I have personally a lot of concerns of the lack of process and the lack of communication and the lack of right posture. Which posture do we have within, first within us, but also in our collective body of Auroville? And what also healthy posture do we have with the secretary? And we need a powerful secretary, we need a powerful RA, but there is not okay to use the secretary movement in order to feel that something shall manifest without understanding from which dimension of our collective body it is coming from. So there's a sense of really some toxic dynamics, personally, for me, I need to say, and it doesn't feel right. And I'm asking, you know, even at the very beginning, when I heard Anu and Shrimoy, members of the working committee, labeling the question that was asked from the forest group or the green or the trees saver, I am very concerned with the way the how we are moving forward on this issue, and it is not from and I'm not part of the forest group. I'm not part of whatever was mentioned. So we are a lot who are concerned. So my question, and please, if you are strongly opinionated, and right now the working groups show some colors, or at least some members show some colors of strong opinions, and according to me, working groups shall embody a centered posture. And that's, or at least it's the practice. It's our yoga, it's our practice in our governance within ourselves and every day. But when we are holding some collective responsibilities, we need to come from a centered posture and hear where is the unease, the discomfort of the community. So how, I have to have a question. I'm sorry, it was more concerns than questions. How do you include that? How do you leave the true governance inside out that feels right, that relate to healthy collaboration?
Thank you. Sorry, my name is Ashok. I see many people were raising a question about the mobility within the city. I mean, with the existing crown road and then the planning crown road, yeah. So without having a crown road, I mean, you can actually already see, you can stop mobility by the crown road there, and you can create a parking there, and people can walk. So just imagine how many people are coming to Auroville to work. 50% of traffic comes from the workers, right? And then probably the other 20% from the villages, because they have been using this road to cross the other side. And then we have a tourist coming in. Tourists, there we are already stopping them here and there. So in order to control our traffic, and then we have to at least try this. This is just a cement brick. We can always take this and then redo when we actually move into future. We are going to do that, right? This is not fixed. If it's broken, we are going to replace it. If we have a new building is going to come there for a more population, we are going to work on it, right? We are going to integrate this ground road with it. So that means we are going to change the material. We are going to even accommodate whatever is there at that point. We are not saying that we should take out all the existing buildings on that ground road, yeah, because people have been living there. Yeah, I'm saying, no need to remove that right now. Let people feel, do they actually want to live there? No, you see, there are practicalities there. You have to apply, you apply everything in there.
We are really short of time,
yeah. Okay.
and we cannot have this. You please put your point, what you want to say. People are taking notes. Please respect time.
Yes, thank you. So people, so we have come this far, yeah. We have, I mean, like many of you sacrificed to see this city to manifest. The solution is within us. If we want to do it, we will do it. If we don't want to do it, we will not do it. Thank you.
No, first of all, I was in the list. And since long time I wanted to answer question because Srivatsa is gone. So a recurring question, oh, you're here. So a recurring question is mobility, the villages, and so on. So first of all, I feel that the people don't understand what in fact is the Crown Road and the essence of the Crown Road, which is exactly mobility, which is a major state of consciousness of the galaxy and living in Auroville, so that automatically, that's why there is all this obstruction. So I should say the major architects in Auroville have been concerned with mobility even before the Billinger Plan in 2011. We met for 1.5 years with all the major architects and Lalit and discussing mobility. Then nothing was happening because there are two problems. One is the Aurovilians, and the other are our servants and our workers. So you understand that if we start making a galaxy and reducing the street to the minimum, and it's only cycling and pedestrian, I hope the Aurovillian will wake up, because this is happening all over the world. It's only here that is not happening. But still we have the problem with the workers and the servants. So according to the mothers, there are no servants and no paid workers in Auroville. We do all the work ourselves. Also, there are no tourists, and especially no tourists going to Matrimandir. She even said, in principle, not for visitor. So you understand, immediately, automatically, we reduce a tremendous number of outer people. Anyhow, Srivatsa raised the issue. First, there is problem that we don't have all the land. Michael Bonk has a big chunk of land and he has to give on the Crown Road. But then there is the Perambok land and other things. So he told me that he was preparing a map, seeing how to deal, because the problem of the villagers is obviously a serious problem. But the moment, I'm personally convinced that the moment we start practicing the mother guidelines, and there is no town unless we practice the guidelines, automatically everything else will fall to places. We will have the professionals. The relationship with the villagers will be the real one, because they're supposed to be the first Aurovillians also.
My name is Ashwini. I'm happy with the presentation what you gave today, but I have a concern as a woman and as an Aurovillian. A few weeks before, I was bullied severely with a few outsiders on motorbikes. When I was really shaken that day, I contacted the groups concerned and I didn't get a proper answer. And then I went and spoke to the securities around. They said, sorry, we do not have enough security. For example, from Dana, we cannot stop people from coming inside. Every day these young people are finding ways to come inside. So today, when you say that it will be only Aurovillians who will be using this road, at the same time you say there are many restaurants and all coming up, I do not feel safe. I do not feel safe for the young people who are here. So I would request for the team, yes, I'm happy about the crown. I'm happy about the growth. But please, just like how in the outside world, there is a lot of security. Even a woman at 12 o'clock, we can go on the highway because there is police, there is security. I would request that you have security so that we women feel safe. That should be one of the considerations. Thank you.
So I'm Olivier, and I thought that this was supposed to be a session of question and answers, but we heard mostly questions, I think no answers. And I understand that we don't have time anymore. I just hope that these questions have been properly written down, that they will not be forgotten, and that they will be answered. Because I think we are all concerned But if we really want to manifest something in Auroville, we have to do it together. And to do it together, it means that we have to respect each other, we have to listen to each other. That's really what is the most important today and for the future. If we continue to push forward our own ideas, we'll achieve nothing. We'll just block the development of Auroville. So I hope all these questions have been properly written down and that the TDC and working committee, whoever can answer to this, will answer to them. Thank you.
Please, yes, send your questions if you could not get the time to ask. It's communications-avenir@auroville.org.in. Also, we have a WhatsApp platform called Aware. I think, if you write to us, I can share the link. There is a lot of conversation that goes on a live mode.